What is something you still wouldn't buy even if you got rich one day? Golden toilet. It's still more sanitary than a golden shower. Microtransactions in a game I pay $80 CAD for. EA would like to know your location. A house so large it feels empty. I want to live comfortably, not lavishly. For real. I see so many celebrities with huge mansions or even castles that just aren't homes. I can't imagine actually feeling at home in a place like that. You lost me at castle. Living in the UK, if I could afford a castle I would buy a castle, purely for when people ask where do you live I can just go castle. I think the French have such a surplus of castles at the moment they're selling for the value of a slightly above average family home. I always wanted to describe the direction to my house as, drive down the local road, then you will see a small gravel drive with a mailbox. Turn onto the drive and go about 6 miles, and you will be at my house in the center of my property. That would be greatly improved with, when you see the castle you are in the right place. My mate has a manor house in the family. The directions are drive down that main road till you see this funky old granite house with a gate in it. Drive through that. The house has a gatehouse. A house for the gatekeeper, to open the gate for you when you arrive. I want to be rich enough to afford a house like that. But I want to fill it up. I have family in other countries. As they all get older, I'd like to have like a personal nursing home for them. My parents, aunts, uncles, all living together as they get older. They all have separate wings so they can have their privacy, but are all close so that they are never alone. I'd also hire a cleaning crew and a couple of nurses to help as they got even older. This is close to my dream. I'd like to have 10 to 15 acres of land where I can build a family compound over time. A main house for my immediate family that I could build an addition on, and a guest house or 2 for extended family. The remainder of the land would be a workshop, a large garden, a chicken coop, and lots of trees. I feel the same way with friends. If I came into stupid money, I would just buy some property somewhere and start building houses, then play Oprah, you get a house, and you get a house. I figure the best thing I can give my friends is stress-free housing. I'd also build a nice community building in the middle so we can do communal meals or cookouts whenever, have some nice big tables for board game nights, etc., and a great internet connection shall be had by all. Edible gold. Why is it even a thing? Fun fact, because it's so outrageously thin, it's actually not all that expensive. You can get a pack of it on Amazon for less than $10. Which is still a huge markup for the quantity. I did the math on this for a different post a few months ago. I'm just gonna copy and paste it. So, while gold is technically rare, there isn't any going to waste, so we aren't running out of it. We've mined most of the gold around already, but it just gets melted and sold again or sold as antiques. Also, gold is incredibly malleable, and is able to hold its form while incredibly thin. That sheet of gold is probably around 0.1 microns thick. For reference, a sheet of paper is around 100 microns thick. While gold leaf can vary in thickness depending on its use, for ease of calculations let's assume each sheet is 0.1 microns thick. Lengthwise, let's say each square is 10 centimeters long, about 3 inches. Assuming it's 24K gold, the volume of 1 gram is 0.052 cubic centimeters, therefore a gram of gold pressed to fit a 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters mold would be 0.00052 cm thick. In microns, that would be 5.2. If each sheet is 0.1 microns thick, that means you would get 52 sheets from 1 gram of gold. According to Google, right now 1 gram of gold is about $58. That means each sheet is about 90 cents worth of gold. Now, most gold leaf is not 10 by 10 cm. For baking, it's sold in much smaller sheets, around 3 by 3 cm. So that 10 pack of gold leaf on Amazon for $9 probably only contains about $1 worth of gold by weight. Side note, I remember doing this math, and it feels like it was just a few weeks ago, when actually it was like 7 months ago. Why do brains do this? Fun fact. EU has an E number for gold. E numbers are codes for substances used as food additives. Gold specifically has the E number of E175. A house so large I can't clean it myself. My parents used to go with my grandfather to the parade of homes every year, since my grandfather knew seemingly everyone within the home building and development industries. My mom to this day talks about how annoying it was that, while touring these new homes, my grandfather would point out things like skylights as being impossible to clean correctly, or unusual light fixtures as being tedious to dust or change bulbs on, or any of a number of things that might look striking but serve little function. Apparently after my grandfather died, my parents went to the parade the next year, And my dad took the mantle of pointing out these types of details. New houses tend to be designed to sell rather than live in. I believe this trend is epitomized by the towel rod in the master bathroom in my house. This rod is mounted about 7 inches above finished floor, above a countertop. The structure that the countertop is sitting on is a half wall, which the bathtub butts against. If I wanted to keep my towel there, I would have to climb wet and naked, over the edge of the tub, and on top of the countertop to get to it. Ha ha ha, no. That's not a towel rack, man. That's an anchor pole for an erotic asphyxiation belt. Duh. Houses should be comfortable and home-like. No use of having some branded sofa if you can't sit and cry on it while getting chips everywhere on the bad nights. And actually that's how I see being wealthy, having the minimum necessities of life as well as the few extra, simple luxuries without being guilty for having them. My friend had a neighbor who had a second living room set up with white everything. No one was allowed to step into that room. All I could think is, what's the point of having all that in there if you can't use it? That mentality is also why my home doesn't have decorative towels in the bathroom. Worked for a cleaning company. One house we cleaned was immaculate. All we did was vacuum up the footprints from guys that came to check on the place, water plants, etc. House belonged to stinky rich people. They pretended to live here when they entertained fancy people. The home they actually lived in was disgusting, according to my boss. Apparently this is pretty common. My family used to have a separate sitting room we weren't allowed to use. It was for holidays and bigger events. I never liked that room. If it's too fancy to use, then it's worthless. Right? I don't want to live in a museum. I want to live in a space that's cozy with just enough room for me and my animals. I'd honestly rather have a smartly designed space that makes my life easier than to have a giant fucking home I don't even see half of for a good chunk of the year. Stupidly expensive vehicles. Terrified I would run into something and just decrease its value by 11 million. I don't understand this idea of keeping monetary value in a vehicle. Keep it looking nice if you want, but I feel like the use you get out of it should be the value we expect out of our vehicles, not resaleability. It's basically what Jay Leno does. You'll see him riding around in one of his old cars in LA. He keeps them nice and clean in a warehouse but actually uses them. There was a picture of a McLaren on some subreddit and most of the comments were about how nice it is to see it a little dirty and actually being driven around instead of packed away in a garage somewhere. A trophy wife. I want real love. The problem with being rich is you won't be able to tell which is which. That's what I worried about when I was younger. Then when I was graduating college I found a girl that I thought liked me, before I got rich. In hindsight, the fact that she was leaving a guy more than twice her age to date me who had nothing going for him besides money should have been a hint that she had issues. That said, if you actually analyze your relationship closely there are always going to be hints. My mom has a coworker with a literal mail-order bride. Says they are still married 25 years later, but it was hard at first with a language barrier. He understood a little Russian, but was not fluent. Seen many different sides of expats getting serious with women from low GDP countries and people are generally so shitty about them behind their back. Language can be a barrier though. WinRAR Pro. It's actually pretty cool that their 40-day trial lasts forever. It's lasted 10 plus years for me. I see the pop-up box. I think okay and close it and carry on with my work. I think the guy who made it deserves to be paid for providing such an amazing product, free of charge even after the trial ends, mind you, so I bought it. Believe me, he got paid. The reason that it is free is so that everyone would use it and then companies would have to buy licenses since everyone uses that program since it is free. Quite clever really. A celeb's brand of anything. They already have so much money, I ain't giving them mine. Birkin or Kelly bag from Hermes. I like the brand, and own some scarves and jewelry. But being on a wait list and having to buy a number of other items while trying to curry favor with a sales associate and earn the opportunity to spend 15,000 plus on a handbag? NFW. I don't even like either style regardless of the surrounding nonsense. Never understood why anyone would fucking bother. Lol, what? This is a thing people do? This is essentially how Ferrari and Rolex work too. You can't just walk in and buy the most expensive one even if you have the cash in your hand. You have to earn the privilege by buying the lower priced products and working your way up to the more expensive ones. I can't fucking believe that works. Can't claim to be a super exclusive brand if every nouveau riche pleb has like 10 of those things stacked in their garage/closet. Any type of exotic pet. I was at a sex toy shop one time, And they had this thing that was basically two pieces of plastic attached with thumb screws. You were supposed to stick your man junk in there and then have someone tighten the screws to crush your balls. Even if I had Bill Gates money, I doubt I'd ever want to buy a plastic testicle crusher. A dog breed prone to health problems. Louis Vuitton anything. It's all so tacky and garish. I never understood this. In general, I don't have anything for or against designer brands, but some I really don't get the appeal. Louis Vuitton, Gucci, or anything by celebrities. Most luxury brands nowadays have two lines of products. The ones with their logos emblazoned all over it is the lower quality line. The good quality stuff won't have their logo all over the product but tastefully placed. People who want to show off their money buy designer brands. The genuinely wealthy buy bespoke. My wife did an internship with a very wealthy woman in Paris. Apparently, one of the ways to show off wealth is to undo the first sleeve button on your sports jacket. Because cheap jackets only have decorative buttons, but the really expensive ones have functional buttons. Edit, and apparently handcrafted, wooden buttons are also a telltale sign. It's a subtle thing that lets the wealthy know that you're one of them. Apparently there's all sorts of these things and they all act as an unspoken code that the rich can use to identify their equals. Edit, lots of people have asked, but I don't know any others. The only reason my wife found this particular one out was because she splurged and got a nice sports jacket to wear to an event. Her boss, a total snob, told her to unbutton one of the buttons so people would know it was nice. My wife asked her if that was a thing and the boss explained it was, and that there were lots of little things like that, but she didn't share any others. I would also love to know what the other tells are, but alas. A big house. For whatever reason, I'm highly intimidated by large, open interior spaces, or labyrinthine homes. I have always very much preferred the cozy quaintness of a cottage-sized living space. Oddly enough, I do like big spacey vehicles, specifically older vans. Everything that you see those super rich Arabs spending their money on. Diamond-encrusted phones and platinum Ferraris. Fucking hell no. Came here to say this. Diamond and gold dust-covered sunglasses, watches, clothes, cars. They're all hideous to me, and most seem to have uninspired design anyway. Smart appliances for my home. I don't need hackers messing with my refrigerator, or not being able to make toast because the Wi-Fi is down. As someone who troubleshoots grills, adding Wi-Fi to it is the most unnecessary thing I can think of. It gives more problems than solutions. I like my smart bulbs because I don't have to use the light switch and can make them turn on at certain times, which helps wake me up. I used to think this, but we recently got a washing machine that has Wi-Fi and I'm pretty pleased with being able to check the time left on my phone. So, not all smart devices are evil. That being said, nobody has hacked it yet. If they had and stopped my laundry mid-wash, I wouldn't be pleased. I agree that both of those things are silly. But having a smart thermostat is pretty awesome and can have economic and environmental benefits. Sex slaves, or anything related to human trafficking. See, and I think I would buy them and then give them money to run away and start a new life somewhere. I'm thinking sometimes about this myself. But then it's just profiting those monsters who sell those people. Take expensive ninja hitmen with you and then have them murder the sellers afterwards, easy win. Or just rat them out to the authorities after buying one and can prove it. I see this plan failing by you accidentally purchasing from a sting operation, then getting your face plastered across the internet with not a single soul believing your story. How could you possibly prove to be one of the good ones at that point? Cauliflower. Oddly specific, but okay.